Hello and welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We're going to give it just another minute for more folks to join on, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. All right, it looks like we've reached critical mass here, so I think we're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Lindsay Clark. I'm the Chief Borrower Advocate here at Savvy. We want to welcome you all to the third part of our lunchtime series with AARP Foundation, NCLC, and we actually have a special guest speaker today, Carlton Mosley. He is an attorney for the Federal Trade Commission, or the FTC, in its Division of Financial Practices, which is responsible for developing policy and enforcing laws related to financial and lending practices affecting consumers. His work at the FTC includes investigating student loan debt relief companies and seeking court remedies to prevent and redress consumer harm. Carlton obtained a JD from Harvard Law School and a BA in political science from Yale University, and he's admitted to practice in the District of Columbia and Pennsylvania. And so at this point, it's my pleasure to turn it over to Carlton to talk to you all today about some of the work that the FTC is doing and how you guys can protect yourselves as borrowers. So Carlton, take it away.
Great. Thanks so much, Lindsay. Good afternoon, everyone. As Lindsay mentioned, my name is Carlton Mosley, and I'm an attorney with the FTC. And an area of interest for the FTC has been student loan debt relief scams, where consumers are called by companies who claim that they can get loan forgiveness or reduce your payment for a fee, when in reality, they pocket consumers' money for themselves. Just this year, the FTC brought 3 cases to shut down 4 student loan debt relief companies: SL Finance, BCO Consulting Services, Apex Processing Center, and SLFD Processing. These companies took over $20 million from consumers, most of which was during the COVID repayment pause, a time when most folks needed money the most. Money they could have used for living expenses or to actually pay down the principal on their student loan balance. And with federal student loan payments resuming next month, we want you, the consumer, to be on high alert for student loan debt relief scammers and know how to protect your finances and your information. And with that in mind, I want to discuss some warning signs of a student loan debt relief scam. So many times these companies will say that they're affiliated with the Department of Education, the servicer, or a government program. Simply put, they're not. They might make vague references to the government, the administration, the president, government programs, or the Department of Education to sound more legitimate and to get more money out of your pockets. They might also make vague references about where they're calling from. For example, you might hear that they're from the processing center or the student loan department without identifying a company. If your servicer is calling you, they will let you know who they are. Plus, the Department of Education maintains a website on studentaid.gov with a list of all approved loan servicers. If you ask a caller what company they're from and the name doesn't appear on the Department of Education's website, they're not legitimate. And if you're not sure about who your servicer is, you can see this information in your account dashboard on studentaid.gov. You can also give a call to the Federal Student Aid Information Center. So we also see a lot of times that student loan debt relief scammers will ask you to read a verification code or ask you to provide your federal student aid ID or login credentials. They can verify your identity. This is actually so they can access your student loan account, see certain personal information, and potentially make changes without you know. Your loan servicer would never ask for this information, so you should not provide it over the phone. And they might also promise you things like immediate loan forgiveness within a few months or a year, that they can lower your payment or even remove loans from your credit report. And the rule of thumb here is that if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And if you're unsure, you can go to studentaid.gov or try calling your servicer before giving anyone your money or information. And speaking of money, in connection with these phony loan forgiveness programs, companies will often try charging you several months of upfront fees for enrolling in their fake payment plans. And they might also tell you that these fees will be applied to your student loan balance. Now, there are 3 flags here about upfront payments. First, it is illegal for these companies to require upfront payments. Second, only payments made to your servicer will be applied to your student loan balance. And third, and perhaps most important, there is nothing that a company can do with your student loans that you can't do yourself or with the assistance of the Department of Education or your servicer for free. Another warning sign is when a company says that you should stop making payments to your servicer or that you should stop contacting your servicer altogether. They might also ask you to sign a written agreement authorizing the company to speak to servicers or other third parties on your behalf. So they often do this so they can change your contact information or your student loan account without you know. So make sure that you are only making payments to your loan servicer, only contacting your loan servicer by yourself, not with the assistance of some third party. Otherwise, you could be at risk of defaulting on your student loans. And a last warning sign, and this isn't exclusive to student loan scams, is the use of high pressure tactics. Companies might say they need to sign up now within a few weeks before the program expires, or that it's urgent for you to enroll in their phony program right now. If you feel pressured, you're probably dealing with a scammer. And so if you see any of these warning signs, don't give the caller any of your personal information. In particular, make sure you don't give them your social security number, date of birth, or home address. Like I mentioned before, you shouldn't give them your federal student aid ID or login credentials, because federal student aid and your servicer will never ask for these. Also, importantly, do not give them your payment information, as this can lead to unwanted charges for illegal upfront fees. And again, there is nothing that a company can do with your student loans that you can't do yourself or with the assistance of the Department of Education or your servicer for free. Finally, if you believe you've been contacted by a student loan debt relief company, please file a complaint with the FTC at reportfraud.ftc.gov or give us a call at 1-877-FTC-HELP. Consumer complaints are incredibly important for helping us find out about bad actors in this space. Now, if you couldn't quite keep up with everything I've talked about today, or if you want to learn more, the FTC publishes consumer alerts, which provide information that can prevent borrowers from falling victim to these and other scams, which can be found at consumer.ftc.gov. Thanks for having me, everyone.
Great. Thank you so much, Carlton. And I'll be sure to put those links and that telephone number in the chat for easy access.
Perfect. Thanks so much.
At this, thank you. At this point, we're going to turn it over to Anna Anderson from NCLC, who's going to talk to you more about what you need to know about your student loans. I know this is part 3 in our series. So Anna, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay, and thank you, Carlton. We're really happy that the FTC came. We actually talked a little bit about spotting scammers yesterday, so I'm so glad that the FTC was here today, just to make sure that you all know how you can file complaints and what more specifically to watch out for. So we really appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started with part 3 of our Know Your Loans series. And if you joined us for part 1 and part 2 earlier this week, we talked a lot about understanding your own loan situation, finding out that information like who your servicers are, who your loan holders are. And then yesterday, we also talked about what to do to get ready for returning to repayment. Today, we're going to talk a little bit more about the income-driven repayment programs. We discussed this a bit yesterday, but we didn't have enough time to get into the details of what these plans look like and how you can use them to save money on your monthly student loan payments and also work your way towards loan cancellation and loan forgiveness through these programs. So we're going to dive a little bit deeper into these today. As always, please feel free to put your questions in the chat, the Q&A feature on the Zoom webinar. So Q&A for questions. We will have time to answer those today because after my portion of the presentation, I'm going to be turning it back over to Lindsay from Savvy to explain Savvy's programs. So I will make sure when that happens that I will answer all of your questions in the Q&A if I am able to. All right, great. So we are going to go ahead and get started. So getting closer to loan cancellation through income-driven repayment and lowering your monthly student loan payments. We are going to talk today about income-driven repayment plans, how to consolidate your loans to make sure that you have one loan servicer, if that's something that you really value and is important to you, or to consolidate to get into a better IDR plan, because only certain types of loans are eligible for certain IDR plans. Finally, we're going to talk about the payment count adjustment. Now, this is a new program that the Department of Education is offering to help get millions of borrowers closer to loan cancellation because of all of the problems that people have had with income-driven repayment in the past. So, income-driven repayment plans. Now, we discussed these a little bit yesterday, but we're going to dive deeper into those individual plans right now. So what are IDR plans? So IDR is income-driven repayment. And IDR plans essentially calculate your monthly bill based on a percentage of your income, not your loan balance. So this is something that can help you reduce the amount of money that you're spending each month on your student loans if you are not able to afford a standard repayment plan that essentially calculates your monthly bill based on your loan balance. And the idea in a standard repayment plan is that you're going to be able to make your payments to pay off your loans in 10 years. But for a lot of folks, that just is not affordable. Those payments can be very high. And particularly right now, where everyone is still recovering from the COVID-19 financial crisis, getting into an IDR plan may be a way where you can actually save money on your monthly student loan payments while also still working towards having your loans canceled or forgiven in a certain number of years. Now, under most IDR plans, you will have your loans canceled after 20 or 25 years of repayment. But I'm going to tell you about a new plan today that will allow some borrowers in a new plan to have their loans canceled after just 10 years of repayment. So we're very excited for that. So one thing that I just want to make sure folks know about is that the percentage of your income that is used to calculate your monthly bill is actually based on a certain percentage above the federal poverty income guidelines for each plan. So if you're curious about the ins and outs of how this all works, all of this information is on studentaid.gov, but we're going to also post links to our website if you want to dive deeper into how each of these individual plans are calculated. So there are multiple types of IDR plans, but the most common plans that we're going to discuss today are SAVE, which was previously known as Repay. SAVE is the new plan that we're going to be talking about that has a lot of exciting new benefits for borrowers. We want to make sure folks who are aware of that know how to take advantage of that and how to sign up. Other common plans are Pay, IBR, and ICR. And we're going to go through each one of those plans individually right now. So the SAVE plan. SAVE stands for Saving on a Valuable Education. Now, SAVE is actually replacing what the old repay plan was. So you may have actually been on the repay plan for a number of years. You are going to see that your loans are going to actually be transferred into the SAVE plan automatically now that repayment is starting again. Repay is going away. It is being replaced by SAVE. So with SAVE, payments are going to be capped between 5 and 10% of your income. Now, currently right now, there are a little bit of delays in when some of these benefits are getting implemented. So for the 5%, the lower payment rate, that actually is going to begin on July 1st of 2024. But still, you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of SAVE now. So if you're enrolled in it now, you'll be ready to start seeing those extra savings come July 1st. So another great benefit of SAVE, and we've talked a bit about this in our previous webinars, is that interest that is not covered by your payment will be waived. So this means that your loan balance will not grow while you're making payments on your SAVE plan. Now, this is a big deal. A lot of borrowers who were hesitant to get into IDR plans, they were concerned that, if they're making their payments, they're going to still see that they're not actually paying down on their principal and that their loan balance is just going to grow and grow and grow because they're not paying it off in that 10-year standard repayment plan. Well, with SAVE, interest that is not covered by your payment is going to be waived entirely. So that means you will not see your balance grow and increase like you used used to in the other IDR plans that are still in existence today. So this is a huge benefit of the SAVE plan. It's why we want to make sure folks know about it. It's also a big deal because more people are going to be eligible for a $0 a month payment. And that's just because the percentage of the federal poverty guideline that the department uses to calculate what your payment is actually going to be raised a bit for folks in the SAVE plan. So big savings that are coming here, and it's going to be a critical plan for most borrowers as they're looking to, handle their loans in a more affordable way. So one flag to note is that direct loans are eligible for the SAVE plan, with the exception of Parent Plus loans and Parent Plus loans that were consolidated into a direct consolidation loan. So this is the thing we're going to talk about quite a bit. Parent Plus borrowers, unfortunately, are only eligible for one type of IDR plan. So for folks who want to take advantage of SAVE, if you also have Parent Plus loans, in addition to other direct loans for your own education, you may want to consider being on 2 different plans. And as we talked about yesterday, that is entirely possible. You can be on 2 different IDR plans at once if you are only eligible for certain plans under certain loans. So the big news for the SAVE plan as well is that in July 2024, if you borrowed less than $12,000 for your education, you can actually get your loans canceled after 10 years of repayments. And we're going to talk about how the new payment count adjustment is actually going to help those borrowers get even closer to loan cancellation now. If you borrowed more than $12,000, though, cancellation is going to be between 20 and 25 years of repayment. So next I want to talk about the pay plan. Now this plan is capped at 10% of your income. Again, only direct loans are eligible for this plan. And there is also an additional requirement that you have to have some sort of partial financial hardship. Now, this again is based on the percentage of your income where you fall within the federal poverty guideline. But essentially what it means is that if your payment based on 10% of your income would be higher than what you'd be paying in a standard repayment plan, you're not going to be eligible for pay. We will show you a very easy tool that you can use because I know that this is really complicated and tough for folks to figure out. We have a tool, the Department of Education has a tool that you can use to sort of simulate what your payments would be in different plans and what you'd be eligible for, so you don't have to remember all the ins and outs of this. But with pay, you get cancellation after 20 years. So that is a little bit lower than some of the other plans that we have here. IBR, now this is a plan that a lot of folks are aware of because FFEL loans are actually eligible for IBR. If you have a FFEL loan, we will talk a little bit, we talked about it in the past couple of days, about how you can actually consolidate a FFEL loan to make it a direct consolidation loan, so it will be eligible for the other types of IDR plans like SAVE and PAY. But for IBR, if you don't consolidate it, you actually will be eligible now if you have a FFEL loan to enroll in an IBR plan. And with IBR, payments are capped at 10 to 15% of your income. And just like with pay, there is also a partial financial hardship requirement. So if you are a higher earner, you may not qualify for the IBR plan. Again, you will not be eligible for the IBR plan if your payment in IBR would be higher than what it is in a 10-year standard repayment plan. So with IBR, just like with some of our other plans, you'll see that cancellation on your loans will happen between 20 and 25 years. And just so you know, that 20 to 25 years, how you figure that out, it really does depend on what type of loans you have and what you took them out for. So if you took them out only for undergraduate education, or if you had a combination of undergraduate loans and graduate loans. So ICR, this is the least generous IDR plan, and that is because payments are capped at 20% of your income. So, where the SAVE plan, in July, you'll be eligible for a payment that is based on 5% of your income. With ICR, your payment is going to be based on 20% of your income. And that is, can be a big difference. And we have seen how borrowers enrolled in an ICR plan, they're actually going to pay a lot more in many cases than they would under pay or under the new SAVE plan. Now, the only problem here is that this is the only plan that is eligible for Parent Plus loans. And also, you are not eligible if you are a Parent Plus borrower unless you first consolidate that into a direct consolidation loan. So there's two sort of flags there. Parent Plus borrowers, they're not going to be automatically eligible for this plan. They first have to consolidate into a direct consolidation loan. Otherwise, all other direct loans are eligible. There's no partial financial hardship requirement. And the cancellation under this plan is going to be 25 years, no matter what type of loan you have. So this, as you can see, is going to be the least favorable plan because you're going to pay the most, you're going to pay the longest. It is something, though, that in reality, if you're a Parent Plus borrower, this is your only option currently to get into an IDR plan. So what we would say is that if you are looking at the ICR plan, it's probably going to be only if you have Parent Plus loans. And remember, you first have to consolidate those into a direct consolidation loan to make them eligible for ICR. What we talk, and we'll talk about a little bit more in the next few slides, is that if you are thinking about consolidating to take advantage of this, if you have a Parent Plus loan, keep that Parent Plus loan consolidated separately. Don't consolidate it with other direct loans, because then all of your loans are going to be subject and eligible only for this plan. Whereas if you separate them and consolidate them separately, you can enroll your other loans in a plan that might give you more savings and make your payments lower on that plan, while still taking advantage of ICR just for your Parent Plus loan that has been consolidated. So we've talked about the new SAVE plan, but I really just want to emphasize that for most borrowers, this is going to be, if you're looking at an IDR plan, this is going to be a huge savings that a lot of folks are going to be seeing. It's not right for every borrower. And again, Parent Plus loans are not eligible for this plan. So you have to look at your individual situation to see if this plan is right for you. But we are going to see more borrowers shorten the number of years that they need to make payments on in order to get cancellation. We're going to see more borrowers having lower monthly payments, including more borrowers who are eligible for a $0 a month payment. And with that interest waiver benefit, we're going to see that while you're making payments in this plan, your balance will not grow. And that is a huge, huge win for borrowers right now, because with interest, we all know that your student loan debt can increase drastically in a very short time. So here's an example of savings for a student loan borrower who is enrolled in SAVE. So this borrower, Alexander, has an annual income of $38,000 and a student loan balance of $25,000. Now, the interest rate on his loan is 5%, and it is a direct subsidized loan. So we know that because he has a direct loan, he's eligible for SAVE. So this borrower was previously enrolled in the old repay plan. And under the repay plan, his monthly payment was $134 a month. But with the new SAVE benefits, he's going to save an extra $90 a month because his loan payment now is going to be $43. So that's just an example of the real cost savings that we are going to see with the new SAVE plan. And it's why we want to make sure that if you're considering an IDR plan, really look at the SAVE plan and see if it would be right for you. How do you look at the SAVE plan, and how do you figure out what plans to choose from? Well, and forgive the typo here. It looks like the font did not go through, but you can use the Department of Education's loan simulator tool to choose a payment plan. And this is what the loan simulator tool looks like when you go on studentaid.gov. I will make sure that the link is in the chat, and you'll have the slides after this presentation with the link so that you can access the loan simulator tool. So there's a couple of ways you can use the loan simulator tool. You will have to log into your studentaid.gov account, and that's a really great way to use the tool because it will automatically pull what your loan balance is, who your different servicers are, what types of loans you have. It will already figure that into the tool so it can automatically calculate your payments and what payment plans you could be eligible for. The nice thing is too is that you can pull your information, you can connect your information from the IRS related to your tax information. If that is the most up-to-date information about your income, it can automatically connect that information to this tool. So you will not even have to put in any income information if you don't want to. You can let the tool do it for you to figure out what your payments would be under each type of plan. So this would be under a standard repayment plan, but also under these various IDR plans. If you have had income changes since the last time you filed your taxes, you can also manually put in your income information. So you can make those adjustments if you need to. I will say that for my own loans, I use this tool very often just to check in and see if there's anything else that has changed that I need to be aware of and see if there's a better plan out there for me. One of the things I want to mention about these IDR plans is that if you are married, there are different IDR plans that count your spouse's income differently. If you decide that it would be better for you, or if you already file your taxes separately, certain IDR plans actually won't take into account your spouse's income if you go that route. However, some plans, no matter what you do with your taxes with your spouse, your spouse's income will be counted when it's figuring out how much you are going to pay. So recertifying IDR plans. Now, generally, you have to recertify your income one time per year while you're enrolled in an IDR plan. Now, this is just so that the Department of Education knows at least once a year what your income is and making sure that you're still eligible for that plan and still eligible for that payment amount. However, if your income increases before your recertification deadline, you don't need to recertify and do that earlier. It's not like with other benefits programs where you need to, notify the department every time your income changes or increases. You actually only have to recertify once per year. And if your income goes up, you don't have to tell the department about that until your recertification deadline comes up again. But if your income decreases and you find that you have less money in your monthly accounts to spend towards your student loan payments, you can ask to have your IDR plan payment recalculated again to take into account that you have had a change in income and your income has gone down. I know we've advised a ton of borrowers who have lost their jobs or have seen their hours at work decrease because of what happened during COVID. And we did help them recertify or get their payment plans recalculated earlier so that they could lower their payment amount before their recertification deadline. So now I want to just let folks know that when you apply for an IDR plan on studentaid.gov, you can actually check a box to give permission for the Department of Education to use your income from the IRS each year automatically. This means that you actually won't need to take any additional steps to recertify your IDR plan each year because it will automatically do that if you connect your income information from the IRS to your studentaid.gov account on your IDR application. While you won't have to check things and you won't have to do anything if you take this step, I would still recommend that you make sure that your income has been correctly reported when it is your recertification deadline. We have heard that there have been some glitches in the system, and also, your income could have changed from when you filed your taxes. So you just want to make sure that everything is correct and up to date. Now, we talked about Parent Plus loans a bit, but I just want to, again, emphasize that Parent Plus loans are generally not eligible for an IDR plan unless you first consolidate them into a direct consolidation loan. And if you do that, the only plan that's going to be you're going to be eligible for is the ICR plan, the income contingent repayment plan. Now, this is the least generous IDR plan, as we've talked about. And so what we just want to caution folks is that if you consolidate your Parent Plus loan with other direct loans into a new direct consolidation loan, all of the loans in that direct consolidation loan are only going to be eligible for the ICR plan. So you might want to think about doing consolidations separately if you want to take advantage of that. Another way to save on your student loan repayments beyond IDR is to sign up for auto debit. So whether or not you're in an IDR plan or a standard repayment plan, you can, with your student loan servicer, sign up to have your payments auto debited from your account each month. So this means that your student loan payment is going to be automatically deducted from your bank account when it's due. You can set the date that you want those to come out on, and it's a very easy process to do on your student loan servicer's website. Now, if you do that, you're going to get a 0.25% reduction of your interest rate. That doesn't sound like a lot, but I will say that with interest, a little bit goes a long way. So if you are in a position where you can sign up for auto debit, you're going to see that your interest rate is going to get reduced a little bit, which will mean more money in your pocket at the end of the day. Now, we talked about this yesterday, but it's very possible to have multiple student loan servicers when you're dealing with your student loan repayments. Now, this is probably the scenario if you attended school at different times. So if you took a break between education or if you went back to grad school, then you may have different loan servicers for your loans from those different periods you were in school. Also, if you have loans from your own education, but then also took out a separate Parent Plus loan later to pay for your child's education, then you could have different loan servicers in that scenario. So you want to make sure, again, as Carlton from the FTC noted, you can find out who your student loan servicers are on your studentaid.gov account. We have screenshots for how to find this information on your dashboard in our slides from the previous 2 days presentations that will be shared out to your email, hopefully in the next week or so. So consolidating to make repayment easier. There are generally two times when someone wants to consolidate their federal student loans. Now, folks generally want to consolidate because they are, tired of having multiple loan servicers and they just want one single loan or one loan servicer that they're dealing with to make just repayment and managing their student loans a bit easier in the long run. So when you do this, you can apply to consolidate your loans on studentaid.gov, and the application will actually ask you to choose the servicer that you want. So that is a big deal. If you've had a good experience with one loan servicer and not another, you can actually choose which loan servicer you want. The other time that folks may want to consolidate is if they want to take advantage of certain types of relief that their current loan isn't eligible for, like we discussed with a Parent Plus loan. You might want to consolidate that into a direct consolidation loan in order to be eligible for an income contingent repayment plan to try to reduce the amount that you're going to pay each month on your student loans. We'll talk about some of the other scenarios as well, where it would be a benefit to consolidate certain types of loans to benefit from relief. So consolidating can make repayment easier, but there are flags that we just want to make sure that people are aware of. When you consolidate a new loan, you will essentially be using that new consolidated loan to pay off existing loan. This means that the new loan's principal will include the interest that accrued on the prior loans. The new loan's interest will also be a weighted average of the consolidated loan. So you might see that the interest rate is a little bit higher when all of the loans are consolidated together. And then for a small number of borrowers, consolidation may change the regulations that apply to certain types of borrower defense discharges. Now, borrower defense is essentially where you are asking the Department of Education to cancel your loan because your school lied to you to get you to enroll. So this really only applies to a small number of borrowers, but if you do consolidate, you may miss out on some of those borrower defense programs. And that is just one flag we want you to be aware of. If you're in that scenario, you should talk to a lawyer first before you do the consolidation. Now, consolidation is something that you can only do on your loan once. So you can't consolidate your one loan and then apply to have it consolidated again. So you have to be really careful when you are thinking about consolidating loans. Consolidation is also one of the limited ways to get out of default. So after you consolidate, you have to stay on top of your payments, because if you default on that loan in the future, you can't use consolidation again to try to get it out of default. So just be aware that if you are consolidating, you want to make sure that none of these sort of very particular specific scenarios are going to apply to you or to your loans, and that it is the right decision for you before you do that. So if you consolidate before December 31st of this year, you will not lose qualifying time toward IDR or PSLF cancellation on your loans. This is something that actually, after that December 31st deadline, if you were to consolidate your loans again, you will not get credit for that previous time before you consolidated towards IDR or PSLF cancellation. So if you're thinking about consolidating, I would highly recommend looking into doing it now because of this key deadline that is coming up. And we're going to talk right now about this type of relief and why this deadline is so important. So if you have been following the news, after the Supreme Court decision came out, you may have heard that 800,000 borrowers were told that they were going to get their loans canceled. Now, this was after the Supreme Court struck down President Biden's original debt relief plan. So this is something entirely different. Now, where did this cancellation come from? Well, this is a result of a one-time payment count adjustment that is being conducted by the Department of Education. With this program, your loans will be closer to cancellation under the IDR or income-driven repayment cancellation. So for most borrowers, this is something that is a really big deal, because not only are these 800,000 borrowers going to be eligible for automatic loan forgiveness, but millions of other borrowers are going to see that their accounts have been adjusted and they are going to be closer to loan cancellation going forward, even if they were never in an IDR plan in the past. So we're going to talk a little bit about what the one-time payment account adjustment looks like. So in 2022, 4.4 million people had been in repayment on their student loans for more than 20 plus years. And as we know with the IDR plans, after 20 to 25 years of repayment, you should have your loans automatically canceled. But in reality, in 2022, we found that only 32 people had actually ever received IDR cancellation. Now, this is because servicers failed to tell borrowers about IDR plans. They failed to give borrowers accurate information about enrolling in IDR. They pushed borrowers into forbearance or deferments instead of getting them into an IDR plan where they may have been eligible for a $0 a month payment. We also were seeing that servicers were improperly processing the paperwork and giving out incorrect denials for IDR plans. And then we also just saw a ton of issues with the way servicers were actually keeping track of records. So this new payment count adjustment is actually the Department of Education's way to correct those past mistakes and failures by the loan servicing industry. So the department is now going to recalculate most borrowers' payment histories to give them credit for time that they may have been otherwise eligible for, but for these really massive servicing errors. So how does the payment count adjustment work? So borrowers with any loans that are held by the Department of Education will now get credit for all time in repayment and even some time in deferment or forbearance toward IDR cancellation. This is huge news. If you were never enrolled in an IDR plan, but you've been paying on your loans for years, you're actually now going to get credited for all that time in repayment toward IDR cancellation. You will also get credit for qualifying time on loans that were consolidated into a new consolidation loan. So again, this is a big deal. Now, the only time that is not going to count for borrowers with eligible loans is time in default, in-school deferments, or that post-school 6-month grace period. So those, unfortunately, are still left out of the payment count adjustment. But for any other time, if you have a loan that's held by the Department of Education, you're going to get credit for that towards IDR cancellation. So what that means is if you've been paying on your loans for 17 years in a standard repayment plan, or if you've switched repayment plans, all of that time is now going to count towards your IDR cancellation time. And you may be only a few years away from having your loans completely and automatically canceled. Another additional benefit of the payment account adjustment is that this time will also count towards public service loan forgiveness if you were eligible for that and that you had qualifying employment. Now, just a quick reminder, for public service loan forgiveness, you have to have 10 years of repayment on your loans plus 10 years of qualifying public service employment with qualifying loans. So this means that you were working in a public service job, had qualifying loans, direct loans, and you were making your payments for 10 years. You also still have to be working in public service at this time to take advantage of that. But if you are still working in public service and you've been paying on your loans for more than 10 years, then you may be eligible under the IDR payment count adjustment to have your loans canceled as a result of this new benefit. So individual loans will reach cancellation based on the terms of the IDR plan you were enrolled in. So again, if you were already enrolled in an IDR plan, it's 20 to 25 years of cancellation. If you're not enrolled in an IDR plan, you'll get cancellation after 20 years of repayment if you only borrowed for undergraduate education, 25 years of repayment if you borrowed loans for graduate education or a mix of undergrad and graduate education, and then 25 years for Parent Plus loans. Most borrowers won't need to do anything to get credit under the payment count adjustment. This is excellent news. And the Department of Education is working to adjust accounts over the course of the next year. So you may not see your account being credited just yet on studentaid.gov. It might take several months, but the department has said they're going to be done with this by the end of next year. What I will say is there's one key flag for folks that do not have loans that are held by the Department of Education. We talked about this yesterday. If you have FFEL loans, Perkin loans, or HEAL loans that are not held by the Department of Education, and you want to get credit under the payment count adjustment, you have to consolidate those loans into a new direct consolidation loan by December 31st. So we talked about this the last couple of days, but that is a really important deadline, and don't lose out on this credit. If you have those loans, think about consolidating them now before the deadline expires, so that you can get that credit and get closer to cancellation on those loans too. Also, if you have loans with different amounts of time and repayment, so maybe you took some loans out in 1998 for undergrad and then some loans out in 2004 for graduate school, you can consolidate them so that the direct consolidation loan is credited with the time that accrued on the loans before consolidation. So you'll get credit for the earlier date in repayment on the earlier loan. So that's a big deal and something you might want to take advantage of now. Again, Parent Plus borrowers, If you want to receive credit toward IDR cancellation, you're going to actually still get that automatically. But if you are not yet at your 20 or 25 years of cancellation, in order to keep earning credit toward IDR loan forgiveness, you need to consolidate that loan into a parent plus, consolidate the parent plus loan into a direct consolidation loan, and then sign up for the income contingent repayment plan, which again, we discussed is the only plan out there that is eligible for folks who have parent plus loans. Just one final thing I want to say about the payment count adjustment. If you are not yet at cancellation, you're not one of those 800,000 borrowers who's getting their loans canceled automatically. You still have a year or 5 years to go to reach your loan cancellation time. You will need to enroll in an IDR plan to keep earning credit towards IDR cancellation. So while all your previous time in repayment is going to count, even if you weren't in an IDR plan, in order to keep building credit toward IDR cancellation, you have to now enroll in an IDR plan, which is why it's key to take those steps now. Use the loan simulator tool to find out what IDR plan is best for you if that's the way you're looking to go. So we always end with this sort of feeling overwhelmed slide because it's a lot of information that we went through today. I will just say that you're not the only one that is overwhelmed by all of this. We have a lot of more resources and information on our student loan borrower assistance site. I encourage anyone who has any outstanding questions about their loan situation to visit this website, studentloanborrowerassistance.org, and then also to visit the studentaid.gov site. That's the Department of Education's website, where there's a lot more information about IDR plans, about the payment count adjustment, and other relief that may help you manage your student loans. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end my presentation, and I really appreciate folks taking the time and listening here today. I'm going to turn it over to Lindsay, and I will make sure to try to answer questions in the chat.
Great. Thank you so much, Anna. That was a ton of incredible information. Hopefully you all can see what an expert Anna and everyone at NCLC is on this stuff, and they have incredible resources. So we highly encourage you to check those out. I will keep this brief because I know maybe we'll save some time for answering questions out loud, Anna, but just wanted to also talk to you about some additional resources made available through AARP Foundation and us here at Savvy. Just a bit about who we are. We are a social impact technology startup based in Washington, D.C. We were founded by student loan experts and advocates who had been fighting on behalf of the borrower for almost a decade. And realized, how overwhelming navigating some of these programs on your own can be. So they developed a technology and a service to help borrowers like you and like myself. I have a little over $200,000 in student loan debt. So if that makes anyone on this call feel better about their own situation, then mission accomplished right off the bat. But to help us not only better understand our student loan debt, but to navigate successfully from start to finish around programs like income-driven repayment and public service loan forgiveness. We're a registered public benefit corporation, which means it exists in our mission and charter to serve the public benefit. And that's exactly why we do things like this here today, partnering with organizations like AARP Foundation, because we firmly believe that when borrowers are better educated and more informed about their debt, they are more empowered as consumers. So what does that actually look like? Well, we provide a tool that helps to simplify and digitize the eligibility and application process. We're going to ask you a few simple questions, and from there, we can show you what your best options would be. What income-driven repayment plan might have the lowest monthly payment? If you're eligible for a forgiveness program like public service loan forgiveness. We're going to continue to monitor for new programs and policy changes. There's a lot of positive things that have been going on in the world of student loan debt. And so with these new things coming out, we're going to be able to communicate those to you so you can take advantage of them. And then last but not least, you're able to receive personalized support from student loan experts. As a borrower myself, I know how valuable this can be. Just to be able to have a phone call, ask some questions, get those answers, and be able to make those decisions soundly. So I'm going to put the link on how you can access these resources in the chat, but I just wanted to sort of walk you through what that experience looks like briefly, and then hopefully maybe we can answer some questions out loud. So when you start your Savvy account, you're going to have your Savvy dashboard, and this is sort of like mission control for everything Savvy that you are going to do. When you're ready to get started, again, we're going to ask you some pretty basic questions around your family size, your tax filing information, right? Nothing secure or private. Remember the advice that Carlton gave, we're not asking you any of that sensitive information. But what this is going to allow us to do is to help identify what savings you might see on an income-driven repayment plan. So you'll see this income information as well. Again, we're going to collect that to be able to help you identify the best plan possible. And then we're going to ask you about your employment. We have a database of all of the public service loan forgiveness as well as teacher loan forgiveness eligible employers in the country. So you can type in that employer name. It should pop up from that drop-down menu. And then we're going to ask you some further clarifying questions to determine your eligibility. If you're currently retired or unemployed, you can simply enter NA in the employer box and proceed to the next question. And then the last step in the process is syncing your student loans. We provide a loan sync through a technology called Plaid. This is sort of a best-in-class syncing technology. It's used on a lot of financial applications these days. And what it allows you to do is select your servicer. So let's say Navient in this case, enter your username and password credentials, and it's going to sync over a read-only snapshot of that data. So it's not giving us access or anything like that, but just the ability to see what that balance is, what that interest rate is, what even loan type you have, so that we can help determine your eligibility. And then from there, we'll show you what those options look like. We have the new save plan incorporated into the tool, so you can see what that new monthly payment might be, what that total payment over time would look like, how long potentially until you're eligible for forgiveness down to the year and month, and exactly how much in forgiveness you'd be eligible to receive. You can expand below for more plan options. You might see a couple of different income-driven repayment plans that you are eligible for. So you can take a look at those and decide on your own, which is going to be best for your situation. And then from there, if you decide to enlist our help, we can actually assist you with that enrollment process. So we can help digitize those forms for you, make it easy to submit to your servicer, reduce some of that human error that can occur, and make the whole process a lot more efficient. And then we also help you to monitor those applications. Let's say you might have an income-driven repayment application, and maybe you're also applying for public service loan forgiveness. You can see all of those in one place and sort of the status of those. One of the most frustrating things I find as a borrower is the lack of transparency that you often have into what's going on with your servicer, right? Maybe you've submitted an application and you haven't heard anything, or you're not sure what more you need to do. We're going to help you track each of those steps to make sure that you achieve the best outcome possible. And then along the way, we're here to help at every step. We have an interactive online help center with great content and articles where you can learn more about all of these different programs that Anna talked about. You can send us a message through your Savvy account, or you can give us a call from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And I'll make sure to put that in the chat as well, that number. So again, just to sort of wrap up, and then hopefully we can answer some questions out loud, you can go to aarpfoundation.org/student loan help. And that's how you can access these Savvy resources. They are completely free of charge. There's no upfront fees. Remember what Carlton was talking about. You want to make sure not to, or to avoid that. And we're excited to be able to provide these to AARP Foundation community. And you can give us a ring at 833-382-3175, weekdays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern. All right. So with that said, Anna, are there any questions maybe we could answer out loud while we've still got a few minutes left?
Yeah, so I had a lot of questions about problems with the way loan servicers are handling IDR plans, and also handling maybe even PSLF, public service loan forgiveness. So what I just want to make folks aware of is, the reason why we have the payment count adjustment is because there have been a lot of issues with how loan servicers have managed things. So if you have problems with your loan servicer, or you don't think they're giving you accurate information about what your bill should be, what you're eligible for under an IDR plan, or even just processing your paperwork for other relief like public service loan forgiveness, file a complaint with the Federal Student Aid Ombudsman. And I did put the information in one of the answered Q&As, but I will make sure as well to put it in the chat. We want to make sure people are taking advantage of these benefits. And if one of the things that's holding them back is their loan servicer, then you definitely want to file a complaint. So the Federal Student Aid Ombudsman, you can file a complaint right on studentaid.gov, or you can call 1-877 557-2575. Again, I'm going to put this information in the chat to file a complaint and see if the Department of Education can help you resolve that. So that is a big thing that I want folks to be aware of. We also had a question about getting loans out of default using IDR. Now, we talked in some previous webinars about this wonderful new program called Fresh Start. Now, Fresh Start is a program where until October 2024, so one whole year, you can easily, quickly get your loans out of default by just making one simple phone call to the default resolution group. And with that phone call, which I'll post again the information for Fresh Start in the chat, a link where you can find more information, including the phone number to call. It's a 1-800 number. All you have to do is call, spend about 10 minutes on the phone. You talk to the default resolution group, say, I want to get my loans out of default, and I want to sign up for an income-driven repayment plan. It only takes a few minutes, and you can do that right there by calling that number. So that's one thing that I want to make sure that folks are aware of as well. We had some questions, just some basic questions about, what types of loans are out there, like what are direct loans, what are Parent Plus loans. We covered this information in the previous webinars, and all of that will be sent out as a set of three slideshow presentations, so you'll get information about direct loans. Direct loans are the only type of federal student loans that are being offered right now by the Department of Education to fund your college or your child's college, direct loans. But there used to be older types of loans that were given out. These are these weird loans we've been talking about, like Fell loans and Perkins loans, that are no longer in existence. But if you've had loans for a really long time, if you took out loans before 2018, before 2010, it's possible that you have not a direct loan, but another type of loan, which is why it's really key that you go on your studentaid.gov account and figure out exactly what types of loans you have. And again, you'll get the slideshows with the screenshots of how you can go through your studentaid.gov account and just find all of that information.
Anna, I saw a few questions that asked about how Social Security factors into IDR payment amounts. Could you maybe touch on that?
Yeah, I mean, it does. So that's just the basic scenario. So your income, whatever income you have, whether it's employment, Social Security income, that's taken into account when calculating what you're eligible for. But a lot of folks who are on Social Security or on other types of fixed incomes, they may find that in an IDR plan, they may actually be eligible for a $0 a month payment. Now, one thing I also want to flag for folks who are retired or folks who are on Social Security disability, if you cannot work because of your disability, you may actually be eligible to have your loans canceled right now through the Total and Permanent Disability Discharge Program. Now, that is essentially a program where if you cannot go to work and because of that, you can't make payments on your student loans, you can apply using a very simple form. Usually, all you have to do is get your doctor or your nurse, if you see a nurse practitioner, to fill out a very short one-page form that says you cannot go to work because of your disability, and you send that off, and the department will then discharge and cancel your student loans. I will put a link into the chat with more information about the various loan cancellation programs, including total and permanent disability discharge. And what I will say is that for folks who are older and on fixed incomes or who are retired, this might be something that you want to take a look into. Lindsay, were there any other chat questions that you wanted me to address?
Let's see. I think maybe just in the ordering of, maybe applying for Fresh Start and then IDR, which do you need to do first? I think there might be some confusion around that for some borrowers.
Yes. So so you have to get your loans out of default first by applying for Fresh Start. And there's no application for Fresh Start. All you have to do is call or sign up online. There's not like an extended application process like with other types of ways to get out of default, such as loan rehabilitation or consolidation. If you are getting your loans out of default now, just make that phone call. We've heard from folks who've done this that it takes less than 10 minutes. And while you're on the phone, the default resolution group, that's the loan servicer for defaulted loans that the government holds, they will be able to take your information about your income and your family size to help get you signed up for an IDR plan in the same call. So it's wonderful. You can just do that all at once through this new Fresh Start program. So if you have loans in default, definitely take advantage of that. And then I just want to make sure that folks know for the IDR cancellation, this is automatic. So there is no application once you've been in repayment on your IDR plan for 20 or 25 years, or coming July 2024, 10 years if you have less than $12,000 that you borrowed for your education. If you've met that time in repayment, this should be canceled automatically. Unlike the other programs, public service loan forgiveness, total and permanent disability discharge, there isn't an application for this. So I just want to emphasize that if you think you've met that and you haven't seen that your loans have been canceled, you really should talk to your loan servicer first and then file a complaint with the Federal Student Aid Ombudsman. So I think we're out of time, but I appreciate you all having me here, and we will make sure that the AARP sends out everyone the slides from today's presentation as well as the previous webinars.
Awesome.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.